Hello, welcome to the 101 Labs Web Development course, Lab 41, CSS Positioning. Lab objective: demonstrate CSS positioning properties to control element placement in web pages, moving beyond normal document flow to create complex and responsive layouts. In CSS, the position property determines how elements are placed within a document. By default, elements follow static positioning, the normal document flow where each element appears sequentially after preceding elements. This natural arrangement can be overridden with alternative positioning values. The four non-static positioning types each provide unique behaviors. Relative positioning maintains an element's place in normal flow, but allows it to be offset from its original position. Absolute positioning removes an element from normal flow and positions it relative to its nearest positioned ancestor or the document body. Fixed positioning removes an element from normal flow and positions it relative to the viewport, remaining in place during scrolling. Sticky positioning combines normal flow with fixed positioning. The element scrolls normally until reaching a threshold, then sticks at a specified position. These positioning methods, combined with the offset properties, top, right, bottom, left, provide precise control over element placement. In this lab, you will explore these properties as a tool to enable complex layouts and interactive elements that respond to page scrolling. The lab tools you'll need are VS Code and Google Chrome. Task 1. Set up the project files and create demonstration boxes for different positioning types. Open VS Code, open the integrated terminal in VS Code. In the terminal, navigate to your course folder and create the new lab folder. Once in the correct directory, type code, reuse window period. To open the current folder in VS Code's File Explorer, go to the VS Code Explorer sidebar and click on the new file icon and type styles.css and enter. From the VS Code Explorer sidebar, click on the new file icon again and type index.html and enter. Set up a basic HTML structure by typing exclamation mark and pressing tab or enter. Update the title to CSS positioning properties. Link the CSS file as an external style sheet in the head section. Within the body tags, add the following demonstration, HTML for our lesson. Save the file. You should have both tabs present at the top of your VS Code window. Open index.html in Google Chrome. Verify that the page shows unstyled boxes stacked vertically. Open Visual Studio Code. We've got the Welcome tab, I'll just close it. Open the command line with View dropdown, Terminal. Change directory to Home, Web Development Course, Labs. Make directory Lab 41, CD Lab 41, code reuse window, period. The Lab 41 folder has opened within our current instance of VS Code. Close the Welcome tab, click on the new file icon, styles.css, new file icon, index.html, type exclamation, enter, double-click on the title to change it to CSS positioning. New line, link tag, href equals styles.css, rel equals style sheet. Move the cursor to inside the body tag. Add all of the code from the lab document. Save with Ctrl+S, Command+S on Mac. Right-click on the OpenIndex.html tab at the top. Copy path, open your web browser. In the URL bar, paste, and go. We have our unstyled divs stacked one on top of the other. Task 2. Apply basic styling and implement static and relative positioning. Return to VS Code and open styles.css. Add the following CSS to style the containers and boxes. Now add the CSS for static and relative positioning. Save the file and refresh the page in your browser. Observe how the static box remains in the normal flow with its default positioning. The relative box is offset 20 pixels down and 40 pixels right from where it would normally appear. The original space where the relative box would have been is preserved in the document flow. Switch back to VS Code. Go to styles.css. We're going to copy the code from the lab doc on task 2. Copy. Switch back to VS Code. Paste. It's coming a little bit out of alignment. I'll right-click and choose Format Document. Add new lines at the end of the CSS file. Add the class name, .static, open curly brackets, new line, position, static, background color, hash, ffccc, close curly brackets. Add the class name, .relative, open curly brackets, new line, position, relative, top, 20 pixels, left, 40 pixels, background color, hash, ccffcc, close curly brackets. Save. Switch back to the open browser. Refresh. We see that the box with class name static now has a pink-red background. and the light green box with position relative has kept its original space in the flow, but is offset away from the top and left of its original space. The other boxes have some default styling. Task 3. Implement absolute, fixed, and sticky positioning with offsetting. Return to VS Code and add the following: position CSS to styles.css. Save the file, refresh the browser and observe the changes. Try scrolling down the page to see the sticky and fixed positioning in action. Use browser developer tools to experiment with the positioning values. Switch back to VS Code in styles.css. Add new lines at the end of the CSS file. Add the class name, .absolute, open curly brackets, new line, position, absolute, top, 60 pixels, right, 20 pixels, width, 60%, background color, hash, CCCCFF, z-index1, close curly brackets. Next, add the class, .fixed, position, fixed, bottom, 20 pixels, right, 20 pixels, width, 200 pixels, background color, hash, FFFFC, C, z-index100. Add the class name .sticky, position sticky, top, 20 pixels, background color, hash, FFCCFF. Make sure the syntax is all correct, opened and closed curly brackets, semicolons at the end of each line, etc. Save the file, switch back to the browser, refresh. Let's bring up what the page looked like before our change for reference. So in our latest change, with the absolute class, we gave this box position, absolute, and offset the box 60 pixels from the top of its starting position inside its parent, and 20 pixels from the right. It's important to note that now the position is absolute, the blue box is completely out of content flow, meaning it's no longer pushing down inside its parent. So its parent has shrunk. It's as if the parent container element is empty. Well, it may as well be empty because the blue paragraph text is also position absolute and is not affecting the element height. Next, our yellow fixed element has also been removed from its original location in the normal flow of content, but this time we notice that when we scroll up and down, it stays in a fixed place 200 pixels wide and offset from the right and bottom of our browser window by 20 pixels, like something stuck on our screen. This is useful user interface for a notification or any information that needs to remain on the screen at all times. In order to see the sticky positioned element in action, we need to be able to scroll past the sticky element in question. If we had more content, then we would be able to scroll further down. Instead, now I've shrunk the window size. We scroll down until the position sticky element has come into sight, and scroll past the sticky element, and now it's fixed in place 20 pixels from the top of the browser window. When we scroll up the page, back past the sticky element, it resumes its space in the content flow. Let's explore the behavior further in the DevTools. Right-click, inspect. Inspect the relative element. I'll zoom in here. If we increase the top offset value, it doesn't affect the content flow arrangement of the other elements, and it overlaps the following element, in this case, seeming to go behind it. Select the box container, parent of the absolute element. Expanding it, we can see the paragraph element and the absolute positioned element. Select the absolute element, change top to 0, uncheck, right, returns to left. This is the original start position without any offsets. Both the siblings, the paragraph element with the class of context, and the blue absolute box are absolutely positioned. Absolute goes in front of the paragraph element because it comes after the P element, so the browser draws the latter elements on top of the earlier elements. As the two absolute elements have no effect on the content, it's mostly the internal padding that is making up the height of the box container. I'll just refresh to clear my changes. Unchecking position absolute makes the element resume the content flow as it defaults to becoming a statically positioned element. The top and right properties no longer affect the box. Inspecting the fixed element. The fixed box bottom property is offset from the viewport, the part of the browser into which we can see the page through. Setting bottom to 0 and right to 0, and it should align with the bottom right of the viewport. Scrolling down, we can see the box class is giving the box a bottom margin that is pushing the element up by 20 pixels. Turn that off and it snaps all the way to the bottom. If we give it a left and right offset with the fixed width still applied, it prioritizes the left side. A top and bottom offset of 0 without a fixed height makes it stretch to the whole height of the viewport. and a left and right value of 0 with an auto width makes it cover the whole viewport, the same as width of 100%. Refresh again. Looking at the sticky element again, we see that as long as we have scrolled past the topmost point of the sticky element, it will keep the sticky element in view until we scroll past the sticky element's container, at which point it would then scroll out of view. When positioning something relative to the viewport, you may want to ensure that your element remains on top of other elements, even if the element was rendered after your fixed or sticky element in question. It is these cases where setting a z-index is important. A z-index of 0 makes the element follow the normal document paint order, or order in which elements are drawn, one on top of the other. A z-index of 1 is higher than 0, meaning that for a site with no other elements with an explicit z-index, this fixed element will sit above all other elements on the page. Going back to the absolute box, there's one last thing I should point out. As long as its parent is position relative, the point of reference for the absolute box is the parent. But if we remove position relative for the parent, the absolute box element position origin defaults to the next nearest ancestor with position relative, or else it aligns with the root element, which in this case is the HTML tag, whose initial box is made up by the browser's viewport window. In my opinion, the box model and the position property is the most crucial aspect of mastering CSS layouts. Knowing how elements are supposed to naturally behave when rendered on the page, and how to precisely control their placement, either within or removed from the normal content flow, will significantly simplify your workflow and enhance your effectiveness as a front-end developer. And that's the end of the lab.